Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 44 of Power Up. My name is D. Marchese, otherwise known as the Beast and Jay, and with me, as always, is my faithful sidekick and co-host, Gregory Verga.
Oh, me?
You.
Hello, kids. I didn't realize I was filming a show. Do I look okay?
You look fantastic, right?
Oh, wow. Don't make me cry.
This is Power Up, our favorite superhero show to do for you, your favorite superhero show to watch. I said that all backwards today.
I know, but it's okay. It was just shroud.
The show goes live Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/the Level Up Network. So go ahead and subscribe there, like the videos, share them with your friends. And
Ow! Sorry. The tea's really hot.
you gotta give it a little,
Okay, we're good. What is that?
little blow. You gotta blow the tea a little bit. Not like sexually, just shut the fuck up. Go to patreon.com/the Level Up Network for just $1 or more as of today. Well, not for you, but we're recording it today.
Yeah,
you will get yourself a Patreon exclusive episode of Power Up.
What?
How about them apples? Just $1. Just $1 is the barrier to entry. You also get a litany of other little perks. I can't remember them.
Your fucking vocabulary, sir. I just what is that word? Litany?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like a cluster, I think.
I
Or
wish
like
I knew when I took the SATs, because I literally would have gotten a 2400.
I never even took the SATs. What do you think about that?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Fuck this.
I really did. My mom was like, so what do you think? You gonna start studying? Got school you want to go to? And I was like, what? No. I was like, I play guitar. I'm not going to fucking college.
I play guitar.
So I have it pulled up here. So $1 or more per month gets you guys access to full episodes of It Only Does PlayStation before everybody else. I don't know how long before everybody else, but
if you don't know, that's our official PlayStation podcast here on the channel.
And what that is, we're going to start, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, we usually do it all at once, but that's going to start being broken out as a topic into short episodes throughout the week. But if you're a patron, you get the full episode all at once ahead of everybody else. You also get the Patreon exclusive episode of Power Up. Just to be clear, that's not in lieu of any episodes. If you're a viewer, you still get your 4 episodes every week. It's just if you're a patron, you now get a 5th bonus episode.
I want to make something. I'm gonna get pad and paper, and whenever you say an awesome vocab word, I'm not gonna acknowledge it. I'm just gonna write it down after googling how to say it, and I'm just gonna hold it up for everyone.
What did I say this time?
In lieu of.
Oh, that's not that.
That's fancy.
All right. You also get VIP status that will gain you XP faster than the normal viewer, and that's on our Twitch shows.
You get the good old VIP.
You'll be rewarded 100 XP each month. The XP can be used towards fun games in the chat room, but also during giveaways in exchange for raffle tickets. And that's all just for $1.
We give away a lot of good stuff too. Like there are PlayStation Network gift cards, the Xbox. What do they call their stuff? Is there real money now? Xbox One just gets the money, right? No. But do they have? They don't. Yeah,
there's no credits or anything. It's
I didn't know if they had Microsoft X Bones.
It used to be points, I think, but yeah, they scrapped it. It's the same as PlayStation now. It's just money.
Smart. Everything should be the same as PlayStation.
Yeah, we gave away $10 PSN card last night, and then the rule is if you donate $5, you get to spin the wheel.
The prize wheel.
Yeah, and so someone had
it's The Price is Right.
We had a couple of new patrons last night. I think 3 or 4.
Oh wow!
And they were a couple of them were at the $1 mark, and Andrew had just gone over that if it's $1, you don't get a prize wheel. We really appreciate your support and everything, but it's got to be $5 for the prize wheel, just because we have to be fair to everybody. And then I was like, come on. I'm like, just one time we could just spin it for these $1. It's not a big deal. And we spin it, and it lands on the smallest slither on the wheel again, which is the PlayStation card, $10 gift card. And I was like, yeah.
That's
Mike was like, way to go. I was like,
that's awesome.
Be generous. We could be a little generous.
We could be generous.
I was excited for him. He was really excited. He was in the chat and he was like, I can't believe I won this. But anyway,
I hope that's how he really sounds. I can't
said
believe it.
his name was Aussie Gamer, so it's more probably more
I love
I can't
Aussie.
believe I won this.
AKA Jai Courtney from Suicide Squad.
Pretty much, which we have so much to talk about today.
Guys, we're labeling today as the Suicide Squad episode. You guys have a lot upcoming.
But yeah, I did want to mention our Patreon because we are recently
I'm renovating.
overhauling the whole thing. There's new tiers. There's $10 tiers, $15 tiers. So go and check that out. Become a patron. We would really appreciate your support. And that is how we are able to improve things like this here.
It's kind of like an episode of Love It or List It from HGTV, where
exactly
we're
like
fixing up the Patreon, and you guys can decide to love it, or you can decide to list it. So.
Yep, that's exactly what it's like. Greg,
yes,
how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantabulous. Last night, or I was supposed to go see Suicide Squad this weekend. I'll give you a little mishmash of my weekend here. I was supposed to go see Suicide Squad with my older brother. On Saturday. We saw Batman vs Superman together, and we saw all the like DC movies together. He loves Batman. He has Batman tattooed on his arm. Kind of weird. Christopher Nolan's Batman, I should mention. That's very much a question I get asked in the universe. But he wasn't able to see Suicide Squad because his fiance recently got really sick. We don't know what's wrong with her. Wish you the best, Megan. We love you. Hopefully you're feeling better. I doubt she watches the show, but there you go. So he wasn't able to go Saturday night. So we called the theater last night. But then he ended up going back to his fiance's house. So I was like, now I have 2 tickets to Suicide Squad that I get to exchange to go tonight. None of my friends answered me back. All my other friends that could have gone were like, what Suicide Squad? I'm like, this isn't going to work out. And then my little brother, as I'm walking out of my house, came home from work. And I'm like, get in the car. We're going to see Suicide Squad. He's like, what? I'm like, I have a free ticket. We're going. So me and my little brother went and saw that last night. So finally I was able to see it. But man, dude, the theaters were packed out, sold out of every single time slot. Like, it was
interesting.
crazy.
So late on a Sunday night. What the fuck's everybody got all this time?
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, the theaters are usually crowded. That's why I usually hate summertime, because if you don't know, I go to the movie theater every Tuesday as well. And I see a bunch of movies. And then as soon as like June hits, all the kids are back from school. All the high schoolers are off. So it's like all of a sudden everybody has a fucking idea to go to the movie theater. Right. Yeah, but it was... We'll get to my thoughts on the movie later.
Forthcoming.
But other than that, yeah, worked. Still working, doing some crazy nonsense there. How about yourself, sir?
Just chilling out, man. I've been on vacation for a while. That's coming to an end.
Vacay!
So yeah, I've been chilling out, playing a lot of games, watching a lot of movies. I watched that, finally, Guardians of the Galaxy on...
Oh, you got around to it, yay.
Saturday night, I think. Yeah, it was Saturday night. Every time I watch that movie, dude... Yeah. It grows and grows on me. Yeah. I was sitting there watching it. I talked about this on Level Up Show last night, but like I was sitting there watching it, and I got to the scene where what the fuck is her name? I can't think of her name.
That's my favorite character, actually.
Zoe Saldana's character, Gamora. Where Gamora is like floating out in space, and Peter comes out, and he's like, God damn it, and he has to call Yondu to come get him, and he takes off his mask and he puts it on her, and he's like carrying her. And the space debris is like corrupting his skin. I was watching that, and the music was like swelling up, and I was like, I think I love this movie. Like, I always knew I really liked it. I thought it was really cool, but like, it became one of my loved films when I watched it on Saturday, because it just I was in the right mood, and like I turned out all the lights out in here, I had the speakers cranked up, and I was like finally in the mood to watch this, and I was just like, I fucking love this movie. It's so good.
That's so the best, dude. That's definitely a movie too, like you said. As the more you watch it, like the more you fall in love with it. Which is weird, especially because it's more of like a comedy, and usually you watch comedy, all the jokes hit, and then you're like, okay, whatever.
That's the thing about that.
It's like a very endearing one.
It has everything. Like, it's got comedy. It's got like a nice emotional through line. The story is like not too over the top, but like there's enough plates spinning to keep you interested in what's going on. The characters are really cool. And unlike Suicide Squad, which we will talk about, at the end of that movie, you really believe like they earned that moment to be like, we're like a family. And I'm like, yes, like the journey like proved that. You know what I mean? And it was over the course of time. So I love that. I love that movie so much. But
I love that we're both going so hard as to tease our review of Suicide Squad, like in every form. I'm just very excited to dissect this because I refrained from talking about it at all last night. Oh, I'm just ready to dive into that. But that's coming up later.
We're gonna do. I'll talk about it in a second. We're gonna do something a little unorthodox today.
Oh. Okay.
I also read through all of years 4 and 5 of Injustice, which was like 95 comic books.
Oh, there are 5 years.
Yeah, there are 5. There are up to issue 33 of year 5 right now.
Oh wow.
And I think at the end of year 5, it's over, and then Injustice 2.
Yeah. Starting it. Yeah.
But yeah, I caught all the way up. I read like 90 to 100 comic books.
That's awesome.
I got so into it. I really love it. How I said before, there's like a lull. Man, it picks back up, and then like you have to keep going.
That's awesome.
It's really good. Highly recommend to everybody.
Injustice is one I want to read.
I would recommend it. Only 99 cents for an issue.
Waka recommend it.
And you blow through them like so quick.
That's what she said. Am I right?
Sure. Why not?
Just going to high five you there. Okay. For the video watchers, you're welcome.
Greg?
Yes.
Let's start the show.
Okay.
I got something a little special for you.
Okay.
I got a rumor, Greg.
Yeah!
Do you know what time that must mean that it is?
It's the rumor roundup, y'all.
So many people were like, is it?
They're like, fuck shit, no!
Did I hit pause? What's happening?
I want to go longer every time.
So the rumor today,
Yes.
if my mouse would unfreeze, is a list of alleged deleted scenes from the Suicide Squad.
This is, like we said, this is going to be a very Suicide Squad centric episode today, but all of it is like very much so worthy of talking about.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
An interesting state of affairs, to say the very least, about that movie. So these have, surfaced via Reddit from a couple of users that have pretty credible sources. Now I have the list. It's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Which will lead into our next story of why this person is so mad.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just read through these pretty quickly.
Yeah, rapid fire them.
And then you just give me a quick thought afterwards, okay?
Done. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Here we go.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of them.
Okay.
In early cuts, the movie's opening detailed all spoilers this whole episode for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the whole thing. Where me and Zena have both seen it.
Almost blew that.
We'll give you possibly maybe like when we go to review like the whole film as itself and dissect it, maybe we'll do like a little 5-minute one-off like spoiler-free thing.
I will try, but all the stories are in nature are going to spoil Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So if you
but I mean for us to like later when we review like the full thing. But like the news and everything still is going to be all spoilers too.
Yeah, well that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Is there a point to doing a spoiler-free portion? Because everything preceding it's all. So I would just say if you haven't seen Suicide Squad yet and you really don't want to, hear any spoilers, just wait to watch this episode. Probably, I'll tell you right now. Yes. Or if you don't care, just watch it because there
are a lot of people that don't
missing much. Yes. In early cuts, the movie's opening detailed June Moon's possession by Enchantress in real time. Reshoots reshuffled that scene to be later in the movie in flashback form in favor of a new opening centered on Deadshot. Probably would have been better the other way around.
I think so too, because I feel like when they ended up making her the central villain of the film, that probably would have made more sense to do her backstory.
Also, yeah,
especially because I didn't emotionally connect with Deadshot's daughter at all. I want to point that out.
Me neither. Yeah. Also, it was like, they just kind of threw that scene in the beginning of the movie. Yeah. Which we'll talk about.
She's like, in detail. I'm an archaeologist. Wah! Yeah. Crack. Enchantress.
Yeah. So Deadshot in the prison cell watching the rain fall and thinking about his daughter. That would have been cool, I guess.
I don't know. I've never emotionally connected with Will Smith as a whole as an actor. I feel like he doesn't really do emotional scenes well. The only emotional scene he's ever done well for me, 2. Pursuit of Happiness with the son in the bathroom, and then the dog from I Am Legend. Mm. Everything else, get over yourself.
Sure. I also don't think we needed this because we got plenty of context as to how much he cares about his daughter.
It was like the whole fucking movie.
El Diablo observing the flame of a lit match before putting it out due to his vow to no longer use his powers. Don't think we really needed that. We got plenty.
Could they have cut El Diablo out of the film totally?
Yes.
Okay.
El Diablo being escorted to a training center by being placed in a tube that fills with water to quell his flames and then unceremoniously dropped onto the ground. Didn't we get that? Wasn't that in the movie?
You got like him in the tube and then everyone was like, oh, I wonder why he's in that tube. And then when they go to like inject them all with the
later they pull it, the water comes out, right?
like the water falls out with him.
Early interviews mentioned Captain Boomerang's racism and sexism, but the movie is light on examples of such behavior, which have apparently been deleted. Most of them were reportedly directed at Katana, to whom Boomerang is attracted to. That, I think, they did themselves a disservice by cutting.
Yeah, Jai Courtney I thought he was actually,
he was decent.
I thought he was one of the funnier characters.
And that would have gave him dimension, whereas what we got of him, we didn't know anything about him.
Was Pink Unicorns, and he was the only character that we didn't get a montage backstory of, which I thought was weird because he was one of the stronger members of the team, especially with the backstory of the Flash too. You're assuming he's gonna pop up in the Flash solo film.
Well, I would have assumed that. At this point, I'm not that sure how many of these guys we'll see again. Early reports indicated more backstory for Killer Croc, revealing that he lived his entire life as a social outcast due to his physical deformities and has convinced himself that he is beautiful in his own way. Croc crossed paths with Batman while working as muscle for hire for numerous Gotham's crime bosses while secretly planning to take over one day. There were also scenes displaying his affinity for making sculptures out of discarded materials. Aside from jokes about Croc viewing himself as beautiful, one of these were retained in the final cut.
That was the scene. That was the scene at the bar with Harley,
right?
Where he's like, "I'm beautiful, shorty," and she's like, "Yeah, you are." Yeah. I'm like, "What? I can't do with this."
They could have totally cut Killer
Croc from the whole movie.
Yep, didn't need him.
Didn't need him at all.
Also deleted was a scene where Croc becomes sick of the helicopter escort to Midway City, throws up half digested pieces of goat, and then eats them again, disgusting the nearby Navy SEALs.
No, I don't need that.
Again, we don't need him at all. And if we did need him, I think they should have made him less of a punchline and more of a threat.
They should have made him like a weird outcast because he's been socially discriminated against his whole life, like a deformity, like that one scene was describing. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, was he like a black, weird, racist thug? Like, they made him a black archetype. He was like, yo, shorty. Yeah. I'm like, oh, well,
we're gonna talk about that because they really did some disservices to all kinds of things in that. A lot of people are giving them credit for, which I find quite fascinating. So we'll talk about that soon. Yeah, they could have cut him out altogether, but the situation with Croc was they were gonna use King Shark in that spot, but they didn't want to do a fully CGI character.
Stupid.
So they switched it to Croc so that you could use prosthetics. I say switch it to Croc. It still should have been fully CGI, and he should have been like...
He should not have been human-sized.
He should have been the big hulking Croc from the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't have been like a stereotype for sure. Yeah. Just because there was a black actor playing him, like they're like, we have to make sure people know that he's black.
And it's so fucking annoying. Like, they not to go back and toot Marvel's horn again, but like, look at the Hulk, like total CGI character, and they able to fit that into the movie. Like, do that with your Croc, especially because he could be like the Hulk of that team.
Well, that's just hilarious in itself. They're like, we don't want to do a fully CGI character, but the last 15 minutes of the movies are going to be two super fake CGI characters battling.
Yep.
All right. Early cuts reportedly included a passing reference to Slipknot being a serial rapist, likely to further paint him as an unsympathetic to the audience ahead of his own death.
Who the fuck is Slipknot?
Yeah, something about him before he died would have been cool. He died in 5 minutes.
If that. He literally gets out of the car, punches a woman in the face, his head gets blown up. I said, okay.
Yep, and that was it. And everyone kind of knew that was going to happen, but like, I thought we would have gotten some kind of a context first.
I said, thanks for coming, Slipknot. Cheers to you.
Yeah, there was like no reason to care when that happened. More scenes of Rick Flag and June Moon's romantic relationship.
I don't need that ever.
That's what we all need.
No.
Including him reading the files of the Suicide Squad recruits after Waller delivers them to him. No, thank you.
And fuck Cara Delevingne as Enchantress. I hated that casting.
Fuck Cara Delevingne as an actress. I'm sorry. I'm sure she's a fine young lady. She's a terrible actress.
As a human being, yeah, we can go get a drink together one day, Cara. Like, you're a nice, semi-decent looking girl, but like, I can't deal with you in movies anymore. Like, you kill every role for me, baby
She was
girl.
a model.
Yeah, and for her eyebrows.
And they're doing
somehow.
Yes. And they're doing that terrible thing where they're just like, hey, she looks good. Let's see if she can act. And apparently she cannot.
They got lucky with Cameron Diaz. After that, you fucking ruined it.
So a lot of these sounds like it's a good thing they got cut. Yes. We're going to get to some that they did themselves a real disservice cutting, though, in my opinion, in a little bit. There are so many to go, so I'm really gonna start firing these off here.
You're good.
Another scene where Flag and Moon are out on a date. No, thank you.
Suck on my balls.
Extended scene of Joker interrogating Captain Griggs, including the line, "I can't wait to show you my toys," which was in every trailer.
And then not in the movie. I would have enjoyed that. That they should have put in.
A lot of the Joker stuff, which is our next big story, sounded pretty cool.
Yeah.
Joker and his men escaping after shooting up a restaurant. Harley, who was already affiliated with the Joker, follows them on a motorcycle and intercepts their car. Joker bangs his head against the glass in frustration. Also sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Joker and Harley get into a fight, which ends with Harley pointing a gun at Joker's head. Joker sweet talks Harley into lowering the gun, charming her, then backhands her across the face. Afterwards, he sweet talks her again and they kiss.
Oh, that I would have loved.
We've seen stills of that. I've seen set photos of that. Exact
That
scene.
was the ones we did the photo montage of, like, way back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I want that a lot.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I was looking forward to that. Also, the scene where he's like in the trailer, you can see him when he like punches the roof of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this stuff looked cool. Extended Ace Chemicals scene where Harley jumps into the chemicals. More bits of dialogue by the Joker. Sure. I think anything more from the Joker, since they were going to use him, which you could have cut him out of the movie entirely, quite frankly.
Yeah, he didn't need to be a part of it.
But since you did put him there, like,
utilize him.
You know what everybody wants to see. Like, let him shine.
Exactly.
And I have strong opinions on this Joker, as I expected to once we saw the look. However, I don't particularly think it's Jared Leto's fault.
No, not at all.
Extended Batmobile chase scene with more interaction between Joker and Harley. One of the examples presented in all the trailers is Joker punching the roof of his car, like we talked about. Harley using her baseball bat as a mock gun to play shoot at invisible foes. I feel like we got that 3 times.
Yeah. Right? Well, no, you got it once in the prison cell, but it wasn't with her bat. It was with the cloth thing, and she was like pretending to shoot all the guards.
She did it at the bar as well.
I don't remember.
When they go to the Joker's like nightclub, and he's interrogating Common, the guy Common plays.
Oh yeah. She does do that.
And
at
then
the bar,
like she's dancing on the stripper pole, and she's doing that at the bar, and then she does it again in the street. So I'm like, how many times are you going to use this fucking move? Extended scene of Joker breaking into the nanobomb manufacturer's facility to arrange for Harley's neck bomb to be disabled.
I mean, I got enough context on that scene.
I got enough context as well.
But if it was like an extra minute of him saying something else or doing something maniacal, I would have watched it.
Also, that would have given some more context to like
what the fuck he picked up at the place when he goes in and bangs on the wall. And I feel like everyone was kind of confused as to what was happening there.
Yeah, I agree. But also when Deadshot was like, "Oh, your friend's gonna help us out with that, right?" Like, why would you just assume that he knows how to dismantle these bombs in your neck? So that maybe would have helped a little bit. Yeah. More interactions between Harley and Boomerang. Early cuts apparently included her really disliking him despite growing affectionate to all the other members of the squad. That would have been cool. I
would have liked that. I think use of Jai Courtney as a whole would have been better.
That's the thing, that there's no dynamics in this movie. Like, it's all like, for some reason these are all criminals, but everybody really fucking likes each other.
All the cohesive threads that they tried to like thread through, like and connect all like to, they just kind of like one-offed with a dumb Harley joke in order to be like, right.
Okay. And again, like, we're gonna probably keep comparing it to Marvel, quite frankly, because how can you not?
Yeah,
these are the two juggernauts of the comic book movies. And
people shouldn't. Yeah, that's just a given.
And they're quite frankly like mimiking a lot of the stuff that Marvel's done. So, but to compare to something like Avengers, like,
oh no,
you look at them. You look at them like the team dynamics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Thor and Thor and Iron Man are kind of like butting heads on things throughout both Avengers movies. Yeah. So like they're friends, but they both have like hot tempers towards each other. Whereas like Tony and Bruce are like boys, they're best buds.
Yeah.
And then like Cap and Tony are constantly butting heads, but they're kind of like family as well. But Cap's got a really close relationship with Black Widow. Like, there's all these different dynamics, which would happen when you put different people together in a group.
Especially you would think more so when it's a group of psychopaths and killers.
Right. But no, apparently when these guys get together,
they all cry at El Diablo's story, and then they like to jack off Harley's bat together. So.
Right. It's just, it's crazy. Like, how do you miss that? Like, all these different personalities, and there's no, like, dynamics to play on here.
It was just one-off jokes, and not even meant towards other members of the group. So
it's meant to sell action figures, so you can put the
yo,
box.
shorty, I'm beautiful. Like, suck on my balls. That was the worst.
Extended bar scene with Harley taking everyone's orders. Deadshot calls for a shot. Katana wants whiskey. Croc and Boomerang settle for beer. So we've seen this in the trailers.
Yeah.
Harley asks Diablo what he prefers. Water, which he jokes is a good idea. The scene was featured in the trailers, but in the movie it cuts directly to Deadshot's speech about them almost pulling the mission off.
The only scene I think that they kept from all the trailers was the one where Harley smashes the window and then takes like the purse or whatever, and then she's like, we're bad guys. It's what we do.
Yeah.
And that was like the worst one out of all the trailers.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah,
he sounded like Buffalo Bill from
Yep.
Silence of the Lambs.
He looked like him too.
It was really quite insane.
I wonder if those two actors are related.
Removed several scenes with the Joker to repaint his relationship with Harley as more loving rather than abusive. Why?
Yeah.
Why? That was the first thing I said. I read this like a couple days after. The first thing I said when I got into the car after we left the movie, I was like, why did they try to make the Joker seem like this loving boyfriend? Like, the fucked up thing about the relationship is like, he doesn't give a shit about her. He's so abusive. He treats her like shit, and she's obsessed with him.
They tried to make it like they had too many. I get it. Like, if you want your like romantic shipping relationship in the movie, like you had that with Rick Flag and June Moon. So like, just leave that if that's what you're going for. I mean, it was the worst, but like you had that thread. So like the whole appeal of Harley is like she wants like her fantasy when Enchantress like goes into her head and it's like, oh, like Jared Leto's hair isn't green anymore, and she's now with Joker, and they have a family, and they have kids. Like, that's the idea she wants. But Joker never will be able to have that.
Right.
So his whole point to her is it's like, all right, I'll fuck you every once in a while, and then let's go rob
Pretty
banks.
much, yeah. Pretty much. And then
and if you don't shut the fuck up, I'll beat you up. So
yeah, he'll leave her to die. He tries to kill her.
Yeah.
Even the thing in the Ace Chemicals, like, the early cut of that was like
what was that? Like, what did they jump into that their skin wasn't boiling off? Like, I'm just confused by that whole scene.
Yeah, they didn't. It's what made the Joker look like the Joker as far as like his skin and stuff. But yeah, when they jumped in, like there was no reaction or anything. Like she just fell asleep, and I was like,
I was just confused by that whole.
I knew what was going on because I know I'm familiar with the whole Ace Chemicals like situation with the Joker and Batman and stuff. And he brought her back.
Well, yeah, like in all other iterations, like he falls into the vat, and that's what makes him like discolored and weird, like the Jack Nicholson movie, blah blah blah. But like Harley wasn't changed by it, and then like they had the weird like her shirt was blue, his shirt was red, and then it melted around her, and that's why she's obsessed with red and blue. I guess I don't know. It was just too much.
It was a little too much. Well, yeah, that was meant to signify that why she was then like all like pale and fucked up for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's like weird.
It was meant to be like her being like him, so he brought her back to like his birth, but there was no fucking context, and that was the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no context. But yeah,
like that's my point. It's like we knew what was actually going on, and I'm like, they did that scene, and like the banter before it was good, but then like she's like, all right, here I go, and dives in, and then he dives in after her. I'm like, does anybody in the theater know what's going on right now? I looked at my brother, and my brother's like, what are they jumping into? I'm like, I don't know.
Apparently, people like loved it, which I don't understand, but yeah, I don't know why, like that is the fundamental basics of the Joker and Harley's relationship that makes them like so much fun to watch because it's not, but no, they made him like a 90s 20s gangster who was like, I'm coming for you, baby, and I'm like, what the fuck, this is not the Joker, dude. So yeah, the Joker and Harley get into an argument after he rescues her in the hijacked helicopter. In early cuts, he reportedly pushes her out to kill her, and then the helicopter gets shot down. That's more what we're looking for. Yeah. This is apparently reworked into the helicopter getting shot down first, and Joker pushing her out to save her. What were they afraid of? Sounds like they were afraid of something.
They were afraid of like maybe sexism or something.
That's the Joker,
all the scenes where he was like demeaning towards her or like physically abusing her, like that's what I think that's what all the reshoots were when they did all the reshoots that we were worried about. Obviously, that's what it sounds like.
They were trying to paint. I'll save this. I'll save this because it's going to go into our review. Yeah. Joker returns during the final battle in the subway station, face half burnt from the helicopter crash, which apparently leads to a brief altercation with the Suicide Squad. We saw this in the trailers. He calls for Harley to escape with him, but she refuses for once in order to help her friends, and the Joker escapes after throwing a live grenade at the group to cover his own escape. We saw that when he's like bye-bye, and he's like biting off the pin of the grenade. Well, like, what? Like, that was the perfect way to show the Joker. He's trying to kill the Squad with Harley.
Yeah.
That was the first time Harley was standing up to him for her friends. Like, what?
Everything they cut sounds like so stupid. I just don't know who edited the film.
Yeah, a lot of the beginning stuff they cut, it's like, sure, that stuff all sounds terrible, but all the
that's
stuff
just like
Joker,
a lot of like the Enchantress stuff, but like all the Jared Leto scenes, like that should have been in the film.
Exactly.
Cut El Diablo, Killer Croc, and fucking Slipknot.
Right.
That did not need to happen.
Which leads to our first official story from the news. Go ahead, give me a little song.
Oh, news.
You did it. In an interview with IGN, Jared Leto expressed his unhappiness.
He's like, come on with the song.
Expressed his unhappiness about his Joker scenes being cut from the final film. This gets pretty dark. Yes. I don't know what happened to him, but he is pretty mad. So this is a quote from him. Were there any that didn't get cut? I'm asking you. Were there any that didn't get cut? There were so many scenes that got cut from the movie, I couldn't even start. I think for the Joker, we did a lot of experimentation on the set. We explored a lot. There's so much that we shot that's not in the film. If I die anytime soon, it's probably likely that they'll surface somewhere. Oh, that's the good news about the death of an actor is all that stuff seems to come out. He also said, I was listening to an interview yesterday, and he was like, there's enough footage for an entire Joker and Harley movie that was cut out. I was like, that's crazy. Now, granted, I said this yesterday, too. It wasn't called Joker and Harley. It was a Suicide Squad movie,
but they put Joker in it.
So
like,
yeah,
make Joker the villain instead of the gyrating hips that is fucking Enchantress.
That's how you do it.
And fucking then it becomes a Joker and Harley movie, but then Harley, like you said, standing up for her friends and deceiving Joker, and then that whole dynamic would have played out so much better.
Which I thought they were going to do for the
instead of Cara Delevingne doing this the whole fucking end of the movie.
My child, I can give you whatever I want, my child.
And then who the fuck is the brother? Oh my god.
Incubus is his name, which they never even say out loud.
Brother.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all you need to kill an ancient 7,000-year-old spirit is a fucking demolition charge. By the way, just in case you needed to know.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh? So as IGN exited the interview to break the tension, they turned around to Leto and said, "We hope you don't die anytime soon." To which Leto replied darkly, "We all die."
He's still very much so in the headspace of Joker.
I was like, "Jeez."
Like he said like he went hard for that character.
Yeah.
And like he sent like used condoms and like fucking dead rats to all the other castmates. Like he really absorbed that role. Obviously, he's still in the headspace of that. And now he's like really, really pissed off too.
He got a really an unfair introduction to that character, and the writing was pretty atrocious.
The writing and the direction, I think.
Yeah, the directing is a whole nother problem, but absolutely, yeah, the directing was fucking an abomination, dude. Like
the kissing of his ring. Like if you're gonna do a crime boss, like make it another Gotham City character and make it fucking Falcone or make it fucking Penguin. Like do something else. Like don't make the Joker every other Gotham City villain that ever existed.
I agree. The only part that I liked about that is after he kissed the ring and then he's like,
we're friends now.
He breaks and he smiles and he like straddles his lap and he's like, I could tell you meant that. Yeah. And I was like, see, that's the fucking Joker, dude. Yeah. But we'll talk a lot about that. Number 2. So what we're going to do here is read number 2. And then before we break off into other news, I figure we'll just do the topic of the week.
Yeah, we have a lot
right after this since we're on Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad opened the first place domestically with $135 million. That's domestic. $267 million worldwide. Nothing to sneeze at. That's a great opening.
Great opening. It was because of the marketing campaign for sure. Like they went hard marketing this movie.
Yeah.
So happy. Hopefully they made profits at least somewhat because I do want to see some of the characters back again.
They made their production budget back. Now, like marketing and licensing and all that money to make back, it's a lot. They spend a lot of money on that kind of stuff, but they've made back what it cost to make the movie so far.
Okay, that's good.
However, there is a sour note at the end of this story. That marks the largest opening ever for the month of August, surpassing Guardians of the Galaxy $94 million domestically.
Nobody freak out about that. because I know a lot of people were like, it beat Guardians, and I was like, suck on my balls. Guardians are so much lesser known, and Joker and Harley were in every trailer of this fucking movie.
Right.
Everyone, my mom knows who Joker and Harley Quinn are. If I told her, Mom, you know Rocket Raccoon, she would be like, Rocket who?
Yeah.
Like, my mom doesn't fucking know.
Well, first of all, $94 million opening is a great opening, and that's just domestically. I don't have their worldwide.
That's double of what Ant-Man opened to.
Right. I don't have their worldwide total, but that was just domestically. So, yeah, Suicide Squad. I mean, the trailer had Batman in it. Like,
yeah,
like
that's fine.
Everybody knew, like, oh, okay, it's Batman and the Joker and stuff. Like, it's just different. But, while the film does boast the highest weekend numbers for the month of August of all time, it did drop a whopping 41% from Friday to Saturday, which is crazy. Friday it was like 68 million, I think it opened to. By Saturday, it was all the way down to like 31 or something.
The critics and the viewers, I've never seen... Like, I thought Batman vs. Superman was polarizing. Because, like, people liked it and the critics hated it. But, like, this is even worse. Like, I was reading it after... Me and my brother were waiting for, like, the after-credit scene. So I was sitting there during, like, the first 5 minutes of the credits. And I went on Flickster. It was Rotten Tomatoes last night was... The critics were at 22% and the fans were at 78%. I'm like, what?
Which I was expecting... to be on the side of, because you know I thought critics, I get a lot of people don't really like Batman vs Superman, and I don't think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's an okay movie, and I found a lot of things that I liked about it. So I was like expecting to come out of Suicide Squad being like, okay, they were a little harsh on this as they were with Batman vs Superman, and I still think they were a little harsh.
I'll agree with that. I enjoyed my watch of Suicide Squad more than I did my watch of Batman vs Superman.
I did not enjoy it more than Batman vs Superman. I'll say that.
I did, and I think it just felt for me like, as much as they both weren't cohesive and they both weren't like, they're both fucked up movies. Don't get me wrong, but my watch of Suicide Squad for me personally, it was just better because I was taking the things, I was going into Batman vs Superman hyped.
Right.
And I was going into Suicide Squad like, this is gonna fucking suck balls.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, it wasn't.
That's true. That would affect it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also there's a lot less, I guess, riding on Suicide Squad being good than there was Batman vs Superman. But that said, like at the end of the day, what did Suicide Squad give us for this universe? Like, what did it leave for us?
It gave a lot, I think, in my opinion.
More valuable than probably the best on-screen Batman that we'll ever get. I don't think so. I think the value of Ben Affleck showing what kind of a Batman he's going to be in this universe is way more to take away than anything Suicide Squad left behind for us, which is a mess.
I like the Batman threads that they put into Suicide Squad because
Batman's awesome. And
I feel like it kind of diminished what it did from Batman vs Superman's Batman.
I don't think so. Because he's a changed man at the end of that movie. Yeah,
but like, and I don't know. It's just there are scenes. We'll get into it more so in the review. Are we jumping into the review now?
Yeah, we may as well. We'll do our topic of the week, which is of course our Suicide Squad review. We've kind of been reviewing it throughout the episode, but this will be our dedicated portion to just go at it. So.
Okay. So
safe to say, I did not like it. I did not like it at all.
I thought it was okay. Like, I walked out of the theater and I wasn't like, I fucking hated this. Like, I'm not on one end of the spectrum where I'm like, this was amazing. And I'm not on the end of the spectrum where I was like, this was the worst movie I've ever seen. I thought it was okay. I think we got a bunch from this movie that can use with better direction and better writing into the DC cinematic universe as a whole. Harley Quinn, I thought was fantastic. I did not, dude. I loved Margot Robbie's portrayal of that character. I thought her quips, for the most part, with the exception of like 2 or 3 scenes, were weird. Loved the flashbacks of Dr. Harleen Quinzel. I thought those were really, really strong.
Let's take it slow. Let's break down the big characters and the big points as we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, Harley Quinn has potential, I think.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie did a nice job. She clearly cares about the character.
For sure.
Yeah, she does a nice job. The look, first of all, they spent so much time making sure that we knew this was Margot Robbie's butt. Like,
yeah,
90% of her shots were framed around where her ass was. And I was like, come on, dude. Yeah. And then everyone's up in arms about her being like representing like females, and this is supposed to be like a highly feminist character. I don't know where that argument's coming from, first of all, and I don't know why in all the promotion and all the interviews, like David Ayers and stuff is like, she's a strong female. She's not. That's the character. She's a like fangirl to the Joker, who has like no identity aside from being like obsessed with him. Yeah. And he hates her and he treats her like shit. And it's not until later, which we could have saw a redeemable quality in this, where she breaks free of him and is like, this is bullshit. Like, I dedicated my life to you and you're the worst. And like, that could have been a great moment for her to have stood up with her friends to become that strong female character. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, she laid it on a little thick for me. And I also think like, probably not her fault, because I think she's a fine actress. I think the parts where she was really trying, she nailed a lot of stuff, but
I think there was scenes, like I said, that were exceptions.
It was like 70-30 for me in terms of like lines hitting. Like 70% of them I was like, that wasn't funny, and it fell flat.
Mine would be probably more like 90-10.
Really?
I really enjoyed Harley Quinn. I really liked her.
A lot of people did, but
there was only like 1 or 2 scenes where I was like, oh, now they're forcing it. And it was mostly like the scenes that I'd seen in the trailer, like hated the Killer Croc one in the bar, for example. Yes, you are beautiful. Like that one was too much for me. I really liked her moment in the bar though, where she goes at Diablo because of like her own, like they're all very selfish in that scene. And that I thought, except for Diablo trying to connect with the emotional family backstory where they're all like crying at the bar, I thought that was weird. And the Killer Croc would have one line off, "Shorty, I'm fucking beautiful." I really liked Harley standing up to him in that moment, because she was kind of like, yeah, maybe you killed your whole family, but I lost my pudding. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I thought that was a nice representation of the character to be like, I lost Joker. Like nothing else matters in this world. I don't like how they kind of played her off romantically with Deadshot. That kind of tripped me out and bugged me out. But then I know she's just like very sexualized, and she'll do that to get her way with anybody.
That's the other thing about her is like, yeah, she's kind of like a nymphomaniac. Like,
yeah, she very much.
She's a very like sexual person in the comics. Like she's all about that. She falls in love with like all the different superheroes, and like she like just trying to get it with everybody. And like,
loved her scene with Joker with the Batman on top of the car. You're ruining date night, Batsy.
Yeah. That was said something awesome. About like the way Batman goes in to like give her CPR was like kind of like rapey, and I was like, I don't think so. I think he was just like begrudgingly saving her life because he knows like she's a piece of shit.
Once again, another good dynamic of Joker. He swam out of the car and left her there to die.
Yeah, that was.
And then surprise, she comes out and goes to slice Batman too.
And then inconsistent though, like you could tell there were so many problems in editing and stuff because. Yeah, like 1 minute he's leaving her, and then he spends the rest of the movie trying to save her. Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. But
they should have given an incentive for him to be going after Harley. Like there should have. Sure. He wouldn't go after just Harley. Like I wish they said like, oh, like somehow he got twisted into like finding like maybe she was holding something that he needed.
That would have been great.
Or like maybe, and like he was going after, and then the big reveal out of the helicopter is like he pulled maybe like the gun she was using the whole movie is his gun, and like when he gets the gun back, then he pushed her out of the helicopter, and then he just does like a maniacal laugh. Like that would have been so much more.
That would have been fucking awesome, man.
Rather than, oh, he falls on the helicopter, and that's how Harley falls out. I'm like, that's not what would happen. I do like the Harley quip though of her. I love how actiony she was, and all the action scenes. I love how she played out there. Because she is like a very, very much so a trapeze artist. She kind of played in the action sequences like Harley Quinn from the Arkham games, and then she's going all over the place. She's beating the fuck out of people with bats, and I love her montage in the beginning of the movie when Amanda Waller's describing her, and how fearless she is and everything. Loved that.
That was the whole thing. Here's my whole thing with Harley. First of all, the most Harley I think she was is in the scenes with Batman.
Yeah, for sure.
And overall, though, like, she also really didn't need to be in this movie. It was to sell toys, and it was for something for guys to look at, because they just totally just, like, okay, there's no, like, line in the comics where, like, she's constantly wearing hot pants. You know what I mean? Like, you could have put them on for a scene or whatever, because, like, sure, she's a beautiful woman, And if you want to use that, I guess that's fine. But
I got excited for the flashback of her in the animated costume.
The Alex Ross
with Joker in the tuxedo, that statue that I'm going after.
Yeah,
I got really excited that they were going to do a variation of that, but then I knew from the trailers that she was wearing her juicy booty shorts. So
yeah, but yeah, like overall, like she had no reason to be on the Suicide Squad. They go through everyone's backstories and they're like, oh, Deadshot's like a really great marksman. Diablo has superpowers. Rick Flag is military. And then they're like, and Harley's really crazy. And you're like, all right.
Well, her appeal was that she was fearless. So, like, she would do fucking anything.
I guess, dude, but, like, so what? So was Deadshot. So was Batman. First of all.
Well, no, like, there are quips where, like, Deadshot, like, backs off and, like, the elevator sequence where they first get to the building to save Amanda Waller and she's the only, like, they're all walking in and they're like, everyone go, like, quietly and, like, go in formation, blah, blah, blah. And she's already in the elevator going up, popping her bubble gum. I'm like, that's a Harley thing.
Because she was leaving them, not because she was brave. She got the text message from the Joker, and then they caught up to her at the top level. She was useless, dude. She had no reason to be there except for that, to sell merchandise and for people to ogle after. It was like...
Yeah, I
really
still think
forced.
they very much needed her in the movie. I see your point of why...
I think they needed her just because that movie would have been a fucking drag.
Yeah, it would have been terrible without her. But, like, I see her use on the squad, because that's how they describe her in the comics, too.
Excuse me.
It's like... That's her appeal of the Suicide Squad, is that she's fucking a psychopath, but she'll do anything.
I guess. It would have made a lot more sense to me if Joker was the villain and they were like, oh, Harley knows
like
everything about the Joker, so she'll be of great use to us. I'm like, perfect, that makes sense. Yeah. But I don't know. As far as the squad goes, like, she really didn't bring anything to the table. Let's talk about the Joker.
Okay.
What did you think? After all the hubbub about his appearance and... I hate Heath Ledger and stuff. What did you think?
The only thing I think they needed to take away from him, take away the tattoos. Yeah. The one tattoo I did end up liking was the smiley face on his hand.
Yeah.
That was very menacing and almost very much so Heath Ledger kind of Joker, where he gets dark with it, and he puts it over people's faces and he just kind of laughs to himself. I thought that was a really cool idea and tattoo to like incorporate why he has them. Face tattoos I could have done without. I get why now the green hair is slicked back and not just fucking crazy. The best he ever looked was when Harley jumps into the vat at Ace Chemicals and then his hair kind of gets a little wild because he's like roughing it up to like decide what to do, if he's going to go after her or not. And then when it looks kind of crazy green hair, I'm like, oh, he looks more like Joker now. I hated the slick back, like I'm going to be a crime boss. He did not need to own a nightclub at all.
Yeah, what was that? He was like a pimp in a nightclub.
He was like, and he had like a cane. Like
it was very, like I said earlier, it was very like 1920s gangster version of Joker, and I was like,
I loved the scene,
which I don't think was his fault. Again,
no.
It's all writing, because for what they wanted him to do, he did well. Yeah. And the lines that you could tell, like he went like a little bit nuts on. Like I was intrigued. There was like a dark quality that I liked, but.
There's very much so potential for Jared Leto's Joker. I like Jared. I shouldn't say love. I like Jared Leto as that character. I don't like the look, and I didn't like how they pinned him up in this movie at all.
Yeah, terrible writing.
Him with the fucking Lamborghini driving with Harley. I'm like, okay.
I hated that from the moment they showed that screenshot. I was like, why does he have a fucking car? Like,
I'm like, he shouldn't. Like, he steals everything. So, like, why does he have a pimped out pink with fucking neon lights on the inside Joker mobile? Like, that's
glad you brought that up.
What the Joker has.
In conjunction with the tattoos, right? Because the one thing that I hadn't brought up in all this time talking about the Joker that I thought of as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, the Joker is supposed to be like force of like anonymity. Like, there's no way to track him. There's no way to find out who he is. There's no way to find out where he is.
So let's put him in a giant neon pink car.
So he's got how many tattoos?
Yeah.
The first thing police usually ask when they're doing a sketch artist, if anyone's like, any tattoos?
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking identifier.
Or like birthmarks or anything. Yeah.
Right. So this guy's got all kinds of tattoos. Yeah. Like, he's got a flashy car. He owns real estate.
Yeah.
He owns a fucking nightclub. And I'm like, what happened to the character in this movie?
They took a lot of other Batman villain characteristics and put it on Joker.
And
which
the
doesn't
grill,
make sense to me.
just as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Loved the Arkham Asylum bits. I'll say that.
Arkham was cool.
Seeing the Arkham Asylum sign, like half lit, that was fucking awesome.
The front of the asylum, the facility with the big gate, like it looked like it was straight out of the comic. I
was like, that's fucking amazing. Seeing him torturing Harley. Even when she's like, what are you gonna do to me? Like, do your worst. And he's like, are you sure you can handle it? And she's like, yeah, I can. He puts the gag in her mouth and fucking shocks her. That was cool. The flashbacks with Harley, like I said, him dancing with the Alex Ross costumes from, I forget what issue that was, but they have the statue that I really, really want really bad. That was cool. Him coming on the helicopter.
It's a painting, I think, but done by Alex Ross, or a drawing done by Alex Ross.
Yeah, that like mural. I thought it was an issue cover.
It might be. I'm not sure. I just know I've seen that image in like a bunch of different art books.
Yeah,
that was awesome, dude.
That was so cool with him in the tuxedo. I like the little bit of where he does save Harley. Like their little quips back and forth were good until the quips were what was driving the movie.
It's like I love you, baby.
Yeah,
you're my girl.
Yeah,
and the texting. What?
Yeah, no.
I'm coming for you, babe.
Everyone, when you watched that in the movie theater, did everybody cackle at that?
We did. I don't know, because me, Eric, and Jim were laughing so hard at it. I don't
like everyone in my theater was filled, first of all, and whenever there would be a text from the Joker in the movie, everyone was like, like dying laughing, like it was hysterical.
No.
I was like, what?
Nobody laughed at that.
The movie I'm like, what?
Nobody laughed at that. The only the Batman punching Harley got a laugh from everybody.
Yeah, everyone was like, holy shit.
And then, some Deadshot stuff got a laugh. A couple of Harley things got a laugh, but really not much.
My theater was cackling at most of the movie.
That's funny. No.
I think that's what made it enjoyable for me, too, because it's very much so the crowd interpretation, as you would see the movie. So when everyone was laughing, I'm like, is this funny? Or
that's why you got to go opening night to see.
Or am I laughing with these weirdos?
Opening weekend, at least. Yeah, people got up and clapped at the end of mine. Not everyone.
Clapped at mine.
There was a central cluster of people that clapped. I shit you not. I turned around and I was like,
yeah.
Really? I was like, you're going to fucking clap for this?
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus. I felt like being like, somebody put the Revenant on so these people can see what's clap worthy or not.
There were a couple. I met this one guy who was sitting next to me, and he was like, we were talking a little bit before the movie because we had so long to wait, and then we were talking a little bit after, and he's like, it wasn't terrible, but he's like, it just wasn't good either. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on it. I'm like, I laughed at some stuff, they had potential for other things. I fucking loved Amanda Waller. Fucking awesome.
Viola Davis was excellent.
Can I point that out? I love her back and forth with Ben Affleck. Loved the scene where you find out she's the one that they're going after in the city, and then she fucking pops a cap and all that. She's like, they weren't cleared to be here. And Rick Flag is like, no, trust me, I get it. And Deadshot's like, that's fucking cold. That amount of respect that he had for her.
Deadshot was pretty cool.
I love Deadshot.
We were really worried about
daughter.
Yeah. And we were really worried about Will Smith in this movie. Yeah, he was totally playing Will Smith still, but it was a good version of Will Smith playing Will Smith. You know what I mean?
The writing still for him, he had a couple lines that fell flat too.
Agreed.
I think honestly, if you took Joker, Harley, Deadshot, and Amanda Waller and put them in, I still have really high hopes for the Wonder Woman solo movie. I still have really high hopes for the eventual Batman solo movie, especially now seeing the Gotham characters outside of this. I think they could give reason to why Joker becomes a crime boss. You said, maybe not tie him to the real estate. I think that's why he had the sidekick guy, which, by the way, little side note, the person that we were talking about out of all the celebrities I hate on Level Up show, that was who played his sidekick, the guy with the suit and tie who comes in and saves whatever, the guy with the huge forehead.
I don't know.
I saw him in the movie and I was dying laughing, and everyone was looking at me like, why are you laughing? And I was like, that's the guy from True Blood that I fucking hate.
No, I don't know.
Of course he's in this movie.
I'm not sure who it is.
Thing. He plays Andy Dwight in the not Dwight. That's fucking The Office now in my head. But regardless of that, I think they have some really solid characters and foundations. I really like the montage stuff. I think they should have focused more on other characters though. Can I say this? I've been so down on the Flash. Loved his little scene.
The Flash cameo was awesome.
I loved that.
That was awesome. However, that set up a huge inconsistency for later in the movie when there's a giant portal of creatures coming out into the city and the Flash is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And he's not on the Justice League yet because as we saw in the post-credit scene, the Justice League is not assembled. So I'm like, oh, You fucked up. You can't show the Flash being around and then have this big catastrophe go down. Where the fuck is he? It was Midway City.
Yeah. It was
Where
weird.
the fuck is he?
It was weird.
That bothered me.
That bothered me a lot too. That was my whole point is I'm like, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Flash are still around, so why aren't they dealing with Enchantress? Like, that's why I was so confused the whole time.
Right.
Like, they never gave reason as to, like, oh, like, Batman's not going after this one, so, like, this is why we need the Suicide Squad. It was just kind of like, assemble Task Force X.
And that was the other thing, right? Like, she has a pamphlet, we find, and you can't get mad about this until the end because you don't know it until the post-credits.
Yeah.
But, like, she has a pamphlet of, like, all the metahumans. Yeah. She also apparently knows that Bruce is Batman. So your first go-to was to call all these criminals together when you have a pamphlet of all these, like, noble people? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. That was,
well, Aquaman,
that
was I appreciated the pamphlet scene only because Aquaman, like, she wouldn't know where to find him. And that's what she says to Bruce, too, is she's like, I don't know how to, like, get these people. And he's like, if you give me all the information, like, I'll be able to track them down. And she's like, how will you be able to? And there was, like, that little kind of, like, acknowledgement of, like, Bruce is Batman to her. Which in the comics, that's a very, very big storyline, is that Amanda knows that he's Batman and they try to blackmail each other all the time. And she's like, I'll fucking reveal your identity. And he's like, I'll fucking murder you in the night. So you could try. But yeah, love Viola Davis. I really like, and I think Jared Leto has a bunch of potential as the Joker.
I agree.
I just think he needs to be more fleshed out as a character, and I think they need to not use him as the gangster that fires up. Like, if they gave him a Tommy gun instead of an AK or whatever the fuck he was shooting off the helicopter, it would have been from a 1920s, like, fucking Goodfellas
movie. Yeah. As far as the action goes, not much to say. Like, the action was really underwhelming. The coolest action scene, I think, was given a Deadshot when he's standing on top of the car, and they're like, they break the silence, and all the monsters turn around, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of the way!" Like, I got it. And he just tears them all up on the car. I was like, that was awesome.
There was too much of, like, they could have just had the one alleyway scene of them to like fighting the no good do whatever monsters. Like, they didn't need it in the office again.
Talk about, like. What do we want these villains to look like? Let's just not give them faces because I don't feel like designing one.
They're like, did anybody see season 1 of Power Rangers? You know, the Putty Patrollers?
Yeah, really, dude.
I'm like, what?
Like, let's just make them human piles of mud.
And the best part is, you know how they become that. All they have to do is make out with Cara Delevingne. So that's all you need in order to become heinous.
I think it's Delevingne. I
don't fucking care at this point.
True.
Her name could be Shit Scene, and I wouldn't fucking give a fuck. And let's get to the people I hated now in the movie.
Wait, also about the villains, the one scene Amanda Waller's like, how are we supposed to take these down when they don't die, when they take a headshot and keep coming? And I'm like, literally, the only way they were dying is from headshots.
Yeah, literally.
And it's just another sign, like the editing was so poorly done. This movie, you could tell from the get-go, reeked of reshoots.
Yeah, for sure.
It reeked of bad editing, bad direction, bad writing. It was just generally, I agree, it's not a total atrocity.
Yeah.
It's bad. I think it's a bad movie.
I think okay. Like, that's
honestly,
it's watchable. Like, if somebody was like, oh, if they weren't a DC fan and someone was like, oh, should I check this out? I enjoyed Batman vs. Superman.
I would say no.
I would be like, if you want to continue, like, the storyline and if they're going to continue with these characters, I would check it out. I don't think it was to the point where it was like Fantastic Four. I left the theater and I was like, nobody needs to see that movie for the rest of their days and can live another day.
I saw Fantastic Four because it was on HBO yesterday. It structurally makes more sense than Suicide Squad.
No.
I promise. It's not good. It's a terrible movie.
I'm going to disagree with you on heavily.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's a bad movie, but like, it has its central through line, like the way it runs its course, like it's like a story. Whereas this was like, here's Deadshot and this other guy. Now we're gonna start telling you about why they're gonna come together. Bad guys, Harley and the Joker.
On paper,
big monster.
Like, if you read both scripts, Fantastic Four would make
That's
more
what I'm
sense.
talking
but
about.
like, as reasoning to build up and Suicide Squad as opposed to reasoning in Fantastic Four.
I'm talking about just as a fundamentally,
as a script, I'll agree with you.
Just as a structure, as structured as just a fundamentally.
But Fantastic Four was all over the place. That was like one scene. they're in the junkyard becoming best friends, and then it's like 15 years later and the thing's on the run, and then it's like 14 years later and Invisible Woman's still the same age, but now she can teleport with bubbles, and then it's like 30 years later and Dr. Doom's taking over the world in the middle of Arizona desert.
There's a strong argument to be made here for either. I don't think Suicide Squad is a total atrocity.
Fantastic Four,
I'm not
I
as high on
vomited
it as you
after.
are. Yeah, Fantastic Four is terrible. That's a given. I'm just saying, like, structurally, it makes more sense than Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is a fucking mess.
Cohesively, with the storyline, yeah, they tried to do something with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, they didn't try to build up a storyline, but I enjoyed that movie more.
Yeah, I enjoyed it more than Fantastic Four, but that's really just not saying much.
Oh no, that's not a compliment.
It's a bad. I would recommend. Like, I don't think you have to see this. You're fine. It's a waste of time, and I'd never say that.
I think there are cool things. I wouldn't go see it in the theater. No, I wouldn't recommend seeing it in the theater. But if it does eventually come to Netflix or it's on HBO and you have nothing else to watch, I'd recommend seeing it.
Yeah, I guess.
I'd be like, yeah, why not? I liked Harley. I liked Deadshot. I loved Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller was my selling point in the movie. And Batman scenes were awesome too.
Even Batman scenes, like, Batman scenes were cool, but like the way they painted him and the way he was edited in, like when he drops down in the city, it's like so janky. And I'm like, you guys had a lot of money. You couldn't like retouch that, or like come on, like it's sloppy filmmaking. And I 100% blame the editing. I 100% blame David Ayer's directing, which is just atrocious. And they had guys who edit movie trailers edit the film.
Yeah.
They never edited a film, and they edited this.
Yeah.
And then David Ayer's like trying to like plant his feet, and he's like, nope, that was my cut. That's the same cut I would have made. And I'm like, well, then you're all fucking retarded.
Yeah, actually. You all belong in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, seriously.
Now to the hates of the movie. Fucking Enchantress.
Terrible.
What the fuck, dude?
Terrible.
What the fuck?
The worst villain in a comic book movie, period.
Cara Delevingne, bye.
Cara Delevingne. It's definitely Delevingne, by the way.
I don't give a fuck. I hate her. I hate her. I hate... not as an actress. I hate
her as an actress. She's terrible.
They paint her to be one of the most powerful characters ever.
Yeah.
But... if you throw a fucking C4 bomb pack in slow motion, that's it. Her powers go away. She can't do shit anymore,
There's so many problems with her, dude.
First of all, need to make... what fucking was she even making the whole time of the movie?
Soldiers. She was making a machine to make her makeout soldiers.
Oh my god. And then she fucking... the whole movie is about her getting her heart back from Amanda Waller, right? Mm-hmm. But she evaporates in the middle of the night, gets Emotep from The Mummy Returns, the fucking brother. You have never even seen The Mummy, but that's literally what is the Mummy movie. They're in those fucking sarcophaguses. If you break them open, the mummy fucking returns. That's the premise of The Mummy.
Yeah.
That's how she finds her brother. But, like, why not just have the brother grab the case and get the heart? Like, you needed to lure Amanda Waller and crash down all 47 of her fucking helicopters, which, by the way, how much fucking helicopters do you have in whatever fucking Midway city that you're...
I'll send another helo. That made me laugh so hard.
Like, why did she leave behind the whole team at one point? She's like, Flag, stay here. I'll send another helo.
I thought she was going to kill him. I was like, cool, dude. They're going to make Amanda Waller the most ruthless motherfucker. I thought she was going to leave and then be like, fuck you all. I'm killing you all. And I was like, wow, that would be amazing. That's not what happened.
Her one bad
She became a damsel in distress.
Her one terrible scene of the movie was the helicopter crashing scene, because it just took away all the ruthlessness that she had done. Like,
yeah, she went from the one strong independent female in this movie, and they were like, let's make her get captured and need to get rescued. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Oh my god, Cara Delevingne, dude. First of all, just generally, like, terrible actress. She can't fucking act her way out of a
They didn't even use her fucking acting ability. They autoed her voice.
She had a chance. Even when she was June Moon, she's like, dandruff. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It was so bad.
They literally, like, all the spells that she does cast, like, it's weird to me, because, like, in the beginning of the movie, like...
oh, it's weird?
She starts to... so in the beginning of the movie, she starts to, like, chant stuff. So I'm like, okay, so she channels her powers by, like, mystical sayings. I'm like, okay, I could get on with this. Like, I can get on board. And then at the end of the movie, she looks like the guy from Scary Movie 2 that has the small hand, the butler, who's gyrating throughout the fucking house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is... When I saw that,
So
I literally didn't understand what was going on. The one good part about her was that she gave us the funny flashbacks for the rest of the Suicide Squad team. That was the one good thing she did throughout the movie. P.S. Why and who the fuck cares that June Moon... Worst name, by the way, is in love with Rick Flag. Another worst name, by the way.
I can't believe they kept her name June Moon. I thought for sure they would change it. And they did.
Moon. I'm like, June Moon is what you're going for here.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Enchantress was the most absolute terrible choice for a villain. She was, hands down, the worst comic book movie villain I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, like, she's a part of the Suicide Squad. She's kind of like their Hulk, which is how I thought they were gonna play her in this. I was like, oh, she's got this like monster inside. She can't control it.
As like Scarlet Witch,
right?
Like she's supposed to be like all powerful too.
And I was like, she's gonna be like, you know, she's gonna be like their wild card. She's gonna like have this beast inside her that they use, but like why would you make her the villain? She's not that interesting, first of all, and she's supposed to be on the squad.
The fact of the matter is, in the writing of the script, when you wrote her montage backstory in 2 minutes of breaking open the sarcophagus jar and then the fucking Enchantress taking over June Moon, that should have told you right there that this girl should not be our fucking villain, because her whole backstory was told in 2 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, like the whole point of developing a good villain, especially one that's going to be taking on a whole team of people. But the best was fucking when she's gyrating mid-gyration, and then the Suicide Squad is like, let's do this for Rick Flag. He needs to get June Moon back. And then she appears with 2 samurai swords. I'm like, what?
So many problems, dude.
Fuck. And then
so many problems.
Mid-battle scene, she's like, oh no, I forgot. I'm all powerful. She's like, enough. And then takes all their weapons. I'm like, you couldn't have done that 20 minutes ago? Like, you needed to get in the action sequence first? Like,
that was my really big problem here. It's like, they tried to be at the end like, we're all best friends. We're all family. I'm like, you guys are bad guys.
It wasn't earned.
Even after, it wasn't earned at all. Yeah. And even
the only
after
scene that
fight,
was earned in was Deadshot when he goes to shoot Harley off the thing.
Totally.
That was the one scene where I was like, okay, that makes sense, because Deadshot and Harley have built some sort of a friendship along the way.
I agree, yeah. I like that moment. But in this instance, there's so many things to tear apart here. Like, they didn't earn that at all. They are bad guys, so there should have been someone, like, flipping the switch at the end or something. Like, it just was way too,
the last
like,
20 minutes of the movie
happy-go-lucky.
was the devil.
It was terrible. Diablo in his giant flame monster form.
His stroll out in his fucking wife beater from the prison yard, and he's like, I got this, yo. And then he fucking turns into fucking Moltres from Pokemon. I'm like, I can't deal with this.
Racism. Like, they made him the most stereotypical Mexican guy.
Everybody in this movie was stereotypical.
Yeah, they really were. Everyone was just a fucking stereotype.
Will Smith was a black
Holy
man.
shit. Killer Croc being like, I
Killer
won't
Croc
beat
was
you to you, Marcel. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
The scene where Killer Croc talks to no-name Rick Flag, second in command, who's apparently a Navy SEAL. Yeah. And for some reason, the subway tunnel's flooded now. Yeah. And they're going to the, I'm coming with y'all. I used to run a nightclub. Let me take off my suede pimp daddy suit.
Dude, how awkward was it when he's like,
I'm like,
trying to get his shirt off and he can't do it. And then he like crawls into the sewer like a fucking spaz. I was like, this is terrible, dude.
And then I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He looked like the child, the Asian child from The Ring when he crawls backwards down the stairs.
Yeah.
As he's crawling into the sewer. And then all of a sudden like, how was he able to do 60
like,
miles per hour? Yeah, I'm like, what?
It was so weird. It was so weird, Greg. And the whole thing, yeah, like if I was some of these people, I would have been like, I'm not saying this. This is the most racist fucking line that I've ever been given. And like, it's offending my culture. But like, they were so cool with it. They were on board. But
it just took so many so many scenes went to the back burner.
Yeah.
Because the emotional weight to them was so fucking, it was so fucking nasty and disrespectful.
It really was, yeah.
They tried to make you care about Diablo's family, that he murdered his 2 children and his beautiful wife or girlfriend, whoever the fuck she was to him. And as she puts down his dinner, he slaps her ass and she walks away smiling. Like, what woman wants to be with that?
Also, then his his big dream, like when Enchantress tries to make them all see what they want.
It's the girl about to blow him in front of the children on the couch.
Deadshot's is like killing Batman. Okay, that makes sense. Joker's was she wants to be married with, or Harley's was she wants to be married with Joker. That makes sense. That's from Mad Love, the book.
Yeah.
And then Diablo's was like, I wish my woman was alive so I could fuck her. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
She's like, I'm gonna put the kids to bed, and then you want to kick it.
Yeah.
I'm like, kick it. This is where we are.
Dude, it was really, really bad.
And then Diablo's like, I lost control and murdered my family. He's like, what if I lose control again? He loses control and only attacks the bad guy. Like,
yeah, he has that under control now.
Suck on my balls.
He looks so. Dude. The special effects were so bad for his. First of all, anytime he uses his fire, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It looked terrible.
The CW shows do better CGI than this.
100% agree. And then when he becomes like the giant, like flame, like, I don't know, like voodoo doll looking thing. Talk about some bad effects. Holy shit.
Which I want to point out, Incubus and Diablo's forms, same exact design.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just one had fire on it and the other one was glowing.
Pretty much.
What the
And then they had, to close this all off, what felt like the longest, most stretched out slow motion sequence. I was like, how long has it been? It feels like it's been like 20 minutes.
Of everyone throwing stuff in slow motion.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, guys, you got your 3D segment in to make this a 3D movie. So proud of you.
Yeah, I was like Harley, this is long.
Harley throws the gun, and her face, too, in the slow motion shot, that was the worst she looked the whole movie. She's like, ah. And then Will Smith is like, let me catch this. Yeah. And then Killer Croc throws the fucking... I'm like, this is enough. This is enough.
The only thing that was like somewhat touching, and they are kind of like, it didn't even hit all the way, is when his daughter appears and he has to like make the choice, and he's like,
but then at that point I didn't even give a fuck about the daughter.
But then the inner struggle, I just like the inner struggle where he's like screaming, and then he's like, I have to fucking do this, and he takes the shot.
That should have been the only segment of that was in slow motion.
Yeah. And
his daughter like, Daddy.
His through line is the only one that was really consistent, if you ask me.
Basically, this movie, you could call it Deadshot and the gang.
He was like a true blue Batman villain. Like, he wanted to kill Batman.
Yeah. Even
though he's doing some redeeming shit here, he still wants to kill Batman. Like, that was on his mind at all times. That was what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he cares mostly about his daughter. So, like, those were his driving motivations, and he wanted everyone to know.
And most of his comedic lines hit, too, I want to point out.
I agree.
He was more levity to the film than Harley Quinn was, in my opinion. I agree. Which was weird, because that should not be the case. If you have somebody stacked up next to Harley Quinn, like, Deadshot's line should not be funnier than Harley's. Like, that was weird to me.
And, like, he was the only, like, really, I felt like, well thought out character to this movie.
Yes, agreed with that. I just remembered fucking terrible fucking interpretation of Bel Rev Prison.
Yeah.
The penitentiary where they keep super criminals is just a dead swampland with walls around it.
Yep.
Okay, what the fuck is that? That's not Bel Rev in any interpretation of any comic book, any cartoon, nothing. I've never in my life. I'm like, this is how you're keeping the super criminals at bay? You put them in a swamp?
Yeah. We do have to wrap up. We have just the last two stories to get to. So, final thoughts on Suicide Squad, Greg. Give it to me.
Like, it was a thing that happened to me. I want Harley in another movie. Give Margot Robbie another shot in her costume. Make her crazy. Put her with the Joker. Jared Leto, I hope he gets another shot. Just maybe, like, he gets all of his tattoos removed because Harley makes them or something. Like, figure that out. Keep the hand one, but, like, maybe, like, he gets burned from the helicopter crash and the other tattoos go away or something.
I almost wonder if he's going to get recast.
Especially with all the shit he's saying. But honestly, if I was Jared Leto, I would be fucking pissed, too. Like,
I would, too, but if you want to play ball, like, you really can't be running your mouth as much as he is.
You can't, but, like...
I get it. I would be pissed too, but I would also want to play the Joker again. So
yeah, exactly. And he was very excited to play the Joker, but I don't know. Keep Deadshot. This is what you need to do. Make a Batman solo movie where Amanda Waller is trying to recapture all these villains. Mm-hmm. Maybe to make another Suicide Squad or whatever the fuck her reasoning is. She just wants to put it back in Bel Rev. Yeah, I hope we never get another Suicide Squad. Maybe put him back in Bel Rev. And then you get Joker, Harley, and Deadshot with Ben Affleck's Batman. Deadshot's trying to kill Batman the whole time. Make him the through villain. like the not central villain, but like the little one-off one that maybe he's going to capture at like the beginning of the movie. Like that could be the opening sequence, and then put Joker and Harley against Batman, because the one good thing that you did in this movie was Harley Quinn's montage, and it says in the beginning in like little holographic neon, accomplice to the murder of Robin,
which I didn't even see. I had to read that online because they
so
flashed
fucking
it
cool.
so quickly.
So fucking cool.
So overall, would you recommend people see this movie?
Not in theaters. And if you are going to watch it, first of all, I wouldn't recommend watching it. But if you are going to watch it, wait until it hits home and don't pay for it. Don't even rent it. Like Redbox for $1, I wouldn't even do that. If it's on HBO and you scroll by it, like maybe.
That's fair. Yeah, overall, bad movie. Poorly written. Directing was total shit.
Yeah.
You know, the Flash cameo was cool. That was a big positive for me.
Yeah.
Overall,
surprisingly, I hate the Flash, and I
really want to see. Well, you don't like Ezra Miller's The Flash.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
We love the Flash in general.
Yeah, I love the Flash.
I don't mind Ezra Miller. I thought the cameo was cool. Overall, I don't think you really need to see this movie ever. Personally, I think I would like to see in maybe the solo Batman movie if it is taking place in Arkham.
Oh, that would be.
I'd like to see Deadshot come back. I like to see Harley get another shot, and just with some better writing and maybe just use her more wisely. My overall, one of the biggest problems I think with this movie is they tried to force Harley Quinn into being a lead character, and she's not. She's not. She's a side character, and she works best as that, and she works best in the appropriate amount of doses. But because they had Margot Robbie, and because that's someone people know, they wanted to draw people into the movie, I think, with a recognizable
They made
face
her the Katniss Everdeen of the franchise.
and a recognizable character, yeah. So she works best as Joker's sidekick, and that's what I think she needs to be. I don't think she can be a lead. So I think that was a huge problem. So I'd like to see Harley come back as that, better dialogue. I like to see Jared Leto get another shot at this.
Me too.
I don't like the look still. After having seen the whole movie, officially we can say I don't like that fucking design of him. It doesn't work. I thought we would get some kind of reason for it. Like they would go into some backstory, like why he looks this way. Yeah. They didn't even bring it up at all.
Harley has her 2 tattoos also on her face. Right. Like the little heart and the little Mr. J, I think it says, or something weird.
Yeah. Overall, really poorly written, really poorly directed. Just a bad movie with a couple of cool things.
And then I was expecting the Flash cameo too, because they said Zack Snyder directed that one scene. Right. So like that was his redeeming moment, that 20 seconds. Like everyone was like,
now
that
I have to say,
scene. I'm like, he directed 20 seconds of the movie.
Right. How long did that really take you, Zack
He came in was probably like, hey, Ezra, good job on this.
yeah.
Like, what?
Right. Also, like, how stupid does David Ayer look right now, being like, yeah, fuck Marvel? I'll be like,
yeah. I'm like, what?
Maybe should have waited to let that slip. So that is our review of The Suicide Squad. We hope you enjoyed it. If you guys hate us for hating it, let us know in the comments. We don't really care. Or if you love us for hating it, let us know in the comments as well. Let us know your thoughts on the movie. We would love to hear it.
I dare you in the comments to argue any valid point that we made in this review. I dare you. Because if you liked Cara Delevingne's fucking dumbass gyrating, I don't know how to feel about society anymore.
People liked it. There were people clapping in my theater. I've heard people be like, critics are crazy. This movie was great. And I was like, all right, well, good for you, I guess. If you find something beautiful out of that mess, I'm happy for you. Last 2 stories, we're going to run through them really quick because we did run a little bit long. We have a whole nother episode to record.
Indeed.
Mark Ruffalo has wrapped on Thor Ragnarok, and he has released an image showing as such.
Aw.
That's a cool little image. I like the model of the Hulk. It's really big.
I would Instagram that.
I think he did. I think that's where this came from.
Oh, that's nice then. I like this picture a lot.
Seeing as how the production of the film just began in June, though, and will likely have a few more months of production, this raises the question, how big of a role could the Hulk / Bruce Banner have in the film?
I think it's pretty big.
Hulk being a CG character would make Mark Ruffalo's job considerably easier, thus a shorter stay on set, because probably a lot of that stuff is added in post.
Yeah.
So does this mean it's a small role, or could this mean that the Hulk could have a large role, but perhaps Bruce has limited presence in the film? What do you think?
That makes more sense.
Think a little bit of Bruce, a lot of Hulk?
A little bit of Bruce, a lot of Hulk. Especially with the one scene that we saw where he goes terrorizing through the woods, that little leaked image from Comic-Con. I think we're going to get Planet Hulk here. Maybe a little She-Hulk reference. That would be cool. Give him a storyline to potentially get his own spin-off movie. Because I think Mark Ruffalo has earned that as the character at this point. He loves playing the Hulk. He loves the character. And I think he plays a really good Bruce Banner. Like, I feel like he has that disheveled, like, washed up scientist kind of thing to where, like, now he can't control his insides. Totally. But he still has, like, what is the genuineness and, like, the appeal of the intelligence of Bruce Banner still in Bruce's character too. So I think he captures both really, really well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get. I think I'm on the same page. I think we're gonna get a little bit of Bruce, but because he's in like another world and probably gonna be in a gladiator pit, there's really no reason for him to go back to being Bruce after changing. Yeah,
he's like, I concur that I might die unless I turn into the Hulk.
So I do think we're gonna get a lot of Hulk, but yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. He probably does like some mocap and then some voice acting, I would imagine. But other than that, they probably do the rest of this in post.
Yeah.
So they probably don't need him much on set after that.
He's got a sweet gig, Mark Ruffalo. Millions of dollars.
It's pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. And there's no Black Widow in this movie to sing him a lullaby, thank God. So
no, he's just gonna be raging Hulk all the time.
That's what I love to hear.
That's what I'm talking about. And then our final story of the day. Simon Kinberg says Deadpool 2 will comment on comic book movies as we know them. Quotes, I think Deadpool 2 will comment on anything that's happening in movies today, especially in superhero movies. The sort of glut or saturation of these movies and the proliferation of sequels is definitely something we'll play around with.
I like that.
Yeah, it sounds funny.
Be very much so a parent of what made Deadpool, the first movie, really, really well, and that was your transparency. You know what I mean? Like, every scene that nailed his jokes were the ones where he was just blatantly calling out other things. Like, don't try to change him. But the only thing I would say about the character is don't make him like the one-liner kind of guy. Like, I would really like, you said this in our review of Deadpool, I would really like if they dove more into like his psychosis and like that he is he's multiple personalities. He has bipolar disorder. Like, there's this like serious thing there too. So don't just make it like, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, something's actually wrong with the guy. Not saying make it dark and like focus in on that story, but like he's fucked up in the head. Like, that should still be very
I mean, I agree and disagree in a sense. I think like at this junction that is kind of Deadpool, and I think the only thing that would have made him go like any kind of dark place or like serious. I mean, he's dark by nature, kind of. Even his humor is very dark, but
his comedy is dark
would probably have been if his girlfriend died at the end, but. Yeah, I want to see this. I want to see all these multiple personalities come out in the film.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like he has a psychosis to him that's very, very funny. And in the comic books, like he even like talks to himself a lot more too, which is like always fun. So I think Ryan Reynolds especially, he nails that character as we saw. So Ryan Reynolds could totally pull that off. Just show a little bit more, open up Deadpool a little bit more to himself, if that makes sense.
Also, I think they should be just a little. I think the idea is funny here with like playing around with like, you know, how these movies are saturating the market and like poke fun at like, you know, the ones like Suicide Squad and stuff that like and Batman vs Superman on all these things. But I think you got to be kind of careful about how far you go with that in your movie, because at the end of the day, remember, you are making a superhero sequel, and you're trying to make money, and you're probably going to try to make another one. So I would probably not draw too much attention to that.
I would hope that they stick to the tropes of what Marvel's done bad.
Right.
I hope it doesn't become, let's poke jabs at the other company. I hope it becomes like, all right, we know what you guys didn't like from our film, so let's poke fun at this.
I mean, I would be pretty surprised if they didn't make jabs from
they're definitely going to, but I just hope it's not like a lot.
I don't think so. They were pretty even. I mean, he came down on...
I feel like Marvel has more respect than DC does, if I'm being honest.
I mean, at this point. Yeah. But they were pretty good about that. He made fun of his X-Men film, and then he made fun of his Green Lantern film. So
yeah, that's like that humor is totally fine. I just don't think you should like blatantly come out and be like
all
superheroes,
and be like, fuck DC.
Yeah,
I agree.
Keep it the jabs, the fun jabs.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's a ways off, but that'll be a good time. And that is it for the news.
My only DC hope at this point is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, you know,
I'm not even excited for Justice League.
I'm really tempered on both Justice League and Wonder Woman, just because at this point they've given me no reason to have any faith in what's happening right now. And I don't think it's against the odds for them to turn it around. It's just that I know that Wonder Woman and both Justice League were already in production before Jeff Johns got the promotion.
Yeah.
And so I think they will turn this around, but I'm a little bit worried that they have to get through their phase 1, so to speak, which would still include Wonder Woman and Justice League before Jeff Johns' changes really take effect.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because Justice League Part 1 is in early production. They really threw that trailer together with the very little bit of stuff they shot so far.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of time. And also I heard that Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder are very publicly having heated fights about Justice League. So
okay. Get him off the fucking movie.
I'd be very curious to see how that turns out, but
get him off the fucking movie.
The only thing I'm 100% confident in is the standalone Batman movie.
Whenever that happens.
It's just a ways off, yeah.
Yeah. There was 2 good things that I saw yesterday at the theater. It was the Wonder Woman trailer, and then it was the CW montage of the 4 shows coming back in the fall. Yeah. It was Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash, and DC's Legends. I'm like, yes!
We do have a question, do we not?
Yes, we do.
Let's hit that before we wrap up.
It's a Suicide Squad theme one. It's kind of fun. Of course, you guys can email us your questions at powerup@thelevelupnetwork.com. Everything spelled exactly as it sounds. This one comes to us from GFN2112, aka Rick Warren, avid viewer of the show, avid questionnaire of the show. He says, Marvel Squirrel Girl versus DC Suicide Squad Slipknot. To the death, who wins?
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl. What is Slipknot? I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Me neither. I don't know. Slipknot... He can, from what I understood in that movie, he can climb anything.
What?
Wasn't that what they said?
That was the little tidbit that they give you, but that's another whole problem I have with the movie.
Awesome
is
climber.
5 minutes in, they're like, we have nanites in your head, and they're like, Slipknot tries to bolt, and they're like, boom, and then everybody else does something, and they're like, oh, but you're essential to the movie. So,
I had a feeling that they were gonna make an example out of someone from the get-go, and I kind of thought it would be
praying
him.
It was Killer Croc. I was praying.
That would have been okay, honestly.
They should have killed Diablo, Killer Croc, and Slipknot, and they would have solved all their problems for all the other characters to be showing up other places.
But, yeah, they really gave us nothing about him. But apparently he's a good climber, but so is Squirrel Girl, because she's a squirrel.
And not named Slipknot, and not played as by whatever the fuck that role was in that movie.
He's from Joe Dirt. Remember
yes,
that?
he is.
He's the guy who sells the good stuff.
Yes, he is.
The fireworks guy.
That was the best.
That's all I could think of when I was watching it. I was look
up the guy from True Blood too. You're gonna look him up. That he was the Joker's sidekick guy.
What's his name? I don't know his name.
I don't know the actor's name. I forget it. But we were talking about people that we hate and want to punch in the face. And then I saw him in Suicide Squad. And I'm like, Jesus Christ!
I'll look it up after we.
This movie cannot go with that. I also want to point out really quick. Suicide Squad. Love the scene afterwards when Amanda Waller lets Deadshot go visit his daughter, and they're doing homework together, and she's like, oh, so the hypotenuse is if you're trying to kill somebody from the roof, Dad.
I fucking hated that, dude.
I liked that. I laughed at that.
Hated it. I was like, come on. Now this kid, everyone's like, he's a murderer. It's cute.
I laughed at that. I'm like, oh, that was nice.
I hated it. I half wanted Batman to drop into the ceiling and be like, I thought I fucking told you. I did not like it, dude. I did not like it at all.
I'm just excited to see Batfleck again. I like him.
I like him too. He's a good man. And that's it.
Gadget.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
That was a cool gadget. I'm excited to see some more gadgets from the old bats.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been episode 44 of Power Up, our favorite superhero show to do for you. Go and subscribe to youtube.com/levelupnetwork. Like these videos, share them with your friends. Catch the show every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yippee!
Head over to patreon.com for all kinds of exclusive perks and goodies, including a bonus episode of Power Up every month.
Ooh.
For just $1 more. That's patreon.com/levelupnetwork. You can follow me on Twitter at @thebeast_NJ. You can follow Greg on Twitter at Greg Verga.
Woo!
Take care and power up.
Power up!
They're good for you. Yeah, protein. A lot of protein. I'm telling you.
Is that a scientific fact?
Nuts is good for your teeth. That's not a fact.
I don't. What's that? What's that? That reminded me of the the British scenes from Family Guy where they all have the big jaws and talk like Brian. Ha.